Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to try and whiz through some slides really quickly and hopefully a fair bit of chunk of time for questions and discussion, I hope. So my question is, that's an obvious statement, isn't it? We've heard it earlier from Debs. People are a key part of what we are about and what we do. Is FM really a people business? So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to read through all of these. I'm going to talk you through people are our greatest asset, question mark. Something I've picked up, the 4 T's, talk about supply chain, people in relation to supply chain, people in relation to customers, our peers, and then a question at the end, which I hope will develop into a bit of a debate. So I'm going to whiz through these quite quickly, I hope you don't mind. So there you go, people are not our greatest asset. And the next line really is quite telling as well. They can actually be your greatest liability. So, and the third line is really the key to this. I think there was some discussion of this earlier on today in some sessions I was listening to about empowerment. I think Debs herself may have said it. If you empower your people, they truly can be your greatest asset. But if you don't empower them, they can be your greatest liability. So without teaching you to suck eggs, there's some great, it's great when you put a presentation together like this, you tend to sort of trawl the internet and put in search strings and come up with all sorts of strange things. But I really liked this quote here from a guy called Anthony Bradley. And they talk about what's the primary purpose of a business. And it's a really sort of dictionary type definition there. But it really is what, if you distill down what we do as businesses, that's exactly what we try and do. We get together people who have no previous connections at all, throw them into a room with some resources, give them a broad objective and hope they deliver something in line with the company's values. So, but the key thing there is empowerment and enablement. So giving them authority, tools, resources and processes. If you do that and then you incentivize them correctly, you'll get somewhere. So moving on to sort of how we can try to empower and how we can get the best out of those people. I picked this thing, I can actually, when I actually Googled the 4 T's, I didn't want to sort of infringe copyright. It's actually, if anyone's got diabetes, that might ring true. The 4 T's are things to watch out for if you suffer from diabetes. So nothing quite so serious for me. For me, the 4 T's are those T's at the top: talk, train, tools and trust. And it's a really simple thing I thought to remember about if when you're managing a team, we're trying to get the best out of your people, and particularly in the service delivery environment that we operate in. Talking, training, trusting and giving them tools is essential. And I think, again, I've picked up some stuff in the internet which I hope you find interesting. Alistair Shepherd at Southampton University did a study, and basically the most important question was, do people talk to each other? And that was a real measure of success. And it's so simple, isn't it? But again, do we pay enough attention to that? I'm not sure we do. Training as well. And again, there's just some, teaching you to suck eggs, some simple things there about how to get training across effectively. And the one I do like there is teaching skills, not traits. That's something, again, many of us, I think, the trap that we can fall into. And again, support the skill is another one. I think we're all used to measuring things and checking on progress. And we generally have sort of appraisal systems that sort of tick box, go on a training course, measure its effectiveness. But how often do we support the skill? How often do we give people some practical experience or some challenges relating to that skill they've picked up to test that they've learned it? How often do we get a piece of software, you log on to it, you get the training, you go back to the desk, 6 weeks later you try to log on again to do something meaningful, and you've completely forgotten it. We don't support the skill. We don't give people practical opportunities to embed that knowledge. So that's a really good one to follow. I think trust, again, I'm not going to read through all of those, it's pretty straightforward. But if you trust your teams, it's back to the discussion earlier about that change in workplace and the skiving working from home issue. If you trust people, generally speaking, if you do the other things we've talked about here, you will get that investment back in spades. And excuse me, tools, again, tools we take for granted. We give people workplaces, we give them software, we give them resources and training, but again, do we maximise the benefit of those? So I would suggest that we should look again at that as well. So, in terms of moving on to sort of people and groups that we work with, business partners or service partners or contractors, again, very, very key people, and in our industry, a high proportion of people we work that work for us are often outsourced. Do we select on the basis of cultural fit and team fit? I guess we probably don't always. I'm going through a big re-tender exercise at the moment, and we have specified BS 11,000 in the middle there as something to be achieved by our partnership within 18 months of contract award. And BS 11,000 is a collaborative working standard, so that's sending a clear message that we're selecting a partner. We're not selecting a contractor, we're selecting a partner. We're letting a contract that will be 5 + 1 + 1. So again, that's another message, a partner. And what we found is the responses we've had, and we just yesterday literally I sat through, we had a day of engineering contractor presentations, and already the language from those bids is very different to what we've had in the past. They've picked up the partnership piece, they've all committed to BS 11,000 of that roadmap, and their focus was very much on value and not costs. So simple little message that you can send at that early stage of a partnership. And even if you have an existing partnership, it's not too late to try and talk about partnering in its truest sense. Again, the 4 T's, again, apply those tools, talk, trust, to your relationship with your partners. Why treat them massively differently to your own employed staff? So that could be training them in not so much technical skills, it could be training them in your business, understanding, for me it's understanding how scientists work, what the demands are of laboratory occupiers. And if your contractor is someone who's not massively experienced in life sciences, how else are they going to learn that? So again, you select the right partner, support them in the same way that you would support your own staff. Two-way street is obvious, but I think again we forget that. There was talk this morning about, I think we were talking this morning, Mike and I were talking this morning about celebrating successes, and again in our business, it's the classic, we're noticed when things work, when things don't work, beg your pardon, and when things go wrong, we're absolutely in the firing line. How often do we celebrate successes, whether that be completion of a simple project or rewarding a receptionist for handling a group of visitors so professionally that you got some emails through, and we don't do that enough, and we really don't. So I think that's again something that we should focus on. BS 11,000 definitely worth considering. The other thing we're doing at the moment at UCB is FMP 360. And for those of you who don't know about FMP 360 and other products I'm sure are available, if you think about a 360-degree feedback tool that you would use in a HR context in terms of performance appraisal, we're using this tool to measure facilities, my team's effectiveness with the business. So we're saying to our business, how much do facilities contribute to your business goals, delivering your business goals? And then we ask the business the same question in reverse. How good are you at telling facilities what your business drivers are? And then you compare the results. The same principle as you might do in a HR context. We've done 2 surveys, we've just started the 3rd, we do it once a quarter. The results are startling. The business wake up to the fact that they don't really tell us enough about what they want from us. My team see that they're not quite as good as they think they are. So all the things, if you think of a 360-degree feedback appraisal system, all the things on the personal level, all the things that you've experienced yourself as a manager, giving feedback or even receiving feedback, this applies to our relationships with our partners. So I definitely encourage you to explore that concept. So customers. I think the customers, as I said at the top, they're people. They're people. We are customers ourselves, and I think sometimes we forget that they are people, and people need to be handled in different ways. You can't just say, this is what the customers want, we've done a survey. Every customer is different, and I'm not suggesting we can provide a service that's, what's the word I'm looking for, designed specifically for every customer, but we should have a service that's flexible enough to keep most customers happy, and if even the ones that aren't particularly happy, they understand that actually we've done some way to support them and what they want. So I think, for me, this is, I guess, the crux of my presentation we're coming to. There's been a lot of talk today about technology and systems and processes. Anyone that knows me, I love technology, I really do. But I wonder, have we, as an industry, lost the balance? We talk about KPIs, SLAs. I was listening to Jackie from GSK earlier, I used to work at GSK. Very much about knowledge and data and customers. So I'm arguing perhaps that we should use that information by all means and use those systems, but do we really have to stick them in the face of the customer every day? So I'm suggesting that we should be saying to our customers, we have systems. If there's a problem with your office, your area, you can log a call. But how much more powerful would that be if the cleaner in the area noticed a problem in that office and the cleaner quietly logged the call for the customer got on with their work. So in my case with a scientist, if there's a flickering light in the laboratory or a problem with the fabric in that laboratory, I'd rather my team pick it up. The scientist can stay looking at the microscope and working in the safety cabinet. I don't want them breaking away for 5 minutes to log a call. What a waste of their time. So, and this is good actually. I think it's really funny. Feel free to laugh. Okay. I put a search in. I wanted to capture something, an image that captured what a Thor Captain does, or a Thor Champion, and Max Whitlock came up, top of the search. So I thought I'd put him in. Oh no, I thought it was funny anyway. People talk best to people. So again, thinking of our customers, get your FM teams, empower them to talk to the customers, empower them to have the authority to raise tickets, to log calls on their own, to collar someone from another team, to get them over to fix an issue. You know, we hide behind the help desk systems, we hide behind the IT sometimes. So some ideas that we're exploring in UCB, and we're retelling at the moment, but all of the bidders at our request have put in sort of Thor Captain, Thor Champion roles. And interestingly enough, those aren't extra bodies of people. They won't be extra people we recruit to be floor captains. They will largely be one of the cleaning team or someone from the post room who will keep a particular eye on an area of the building. So they're encouraged to get out of the post room and do more, not just think about I'm delivering mail on this floor, where's the pigeonhole. We're encouraged them to walk around, looking around, get to know the customers. So it's again, humanise what we do, personalise what we do. What we have done at UCB has been pretty successful, not as massively successful as I would have hoped. We've created FM hubs, we call them locally, but the idea is that don't worry about logging a call. If you're going past the reception desk on your way to the restaurant, mention the particular issues to the receptionist, they'll log it for you. So again, simple thing, doesn't cost any extra money, but it humanises our service, it makes it easier for customers to interact with us, and the receptionists feel more valued because if there's no visitor coming and they sort of sit there looking, trying to look happy, but you know, let's involve them in what we do, let's involve them in the business. And I think the NASA story earlier about adding value and what do you do? Well, you know, my receptionists help discover novel new medicines. So that's what we want to do, where we want to be. And the last one, I've implemented pretty much everywhere I've worked since I worked at the BBC for land securities. And we introduced FM surgeries, and that was because, and that is exactly as it sounds, that was us, the FM teams going out to the business, and we would normally sit in breakout areas in the Media Village development of White City. It was a brand new building, we had lots of snags, lots of people complaining about heating, cooling. As ever, we were forced to move into the building too early, wasn't quite ready, etc. So by basing 2 of our FMs in breakout area every morning between 10 and 11, people would come to them, we would log the calls for them on the laptop, the guys would then make contact with customers and get to know them, and it was an incredibly powerful thing. And the only reason we stopped doing it was because everyone stopped coming to see them between 9 and 10, and the reason for that was they would walk the buildings through the day and people would say, hi, one of the guys was Luigi, hi Luigi, I've got a problem with my chair, can you help? And that was so powerful. So again, it's getting FM out from the help desk, out from the FM office, and out onto the floor, or the laboratory, or the factory floor, or the shop floor. So, getting to the end of my slide, this is one I think that we're doing already today, so I'm really am preaching to the converted. There are lots and lots of ways of personalising what you do in your organisation. I'm hoping and suggesting for you two today, there are hundreds, millions more ideas out there, and do what you're doing today, which is talk to people. And you know, in no particular order, the top line are industry bodies or associations you probably recognise. We're here today with FMP. The bottom line is probably quite key as well. I'm a judge on these, have been for about 6 years now, and I'll tell you what, it's the best 6 or 7 days training I do all year. So I'm ostensibly going to a site, so the Forth Road Bridge, the new Forth Road Bridge a couple of weeks ago. I learned stuff. I learned about lighting protection. actually, which were electrical safety systems, which was great. Joking aside, if you get out there and you network through special interest groups, just read stuff. Deborah's gave you 2 or 3, 4 or 5 quotes from stuff I haven't read yet. So those are really simple things you can do to help your knowledge, and then pass that knowledge on to your teams and encourage them to do the same. So the point about this is, yes, it's for you in this room, but I would absolutely encourage you to push that down to your team as well. And that could be as easy as popping next door to the office next door, the company next door, and having a coffee with their facilities assistant or the receptionist, comparing experiences, or the security officer. So I'm going to finish up now. I love this, yeah. I couldn't find a more sort of dramatic one, but you know, is that where we are as an industry? I think some of us might be, which is really sad, and I think this is where we should be, or this is where we should be moving towards.